Wow.
Oops, is that all?
Assalamu alaikum. I came across a Palestinian recipe that I really wanted to try. I had to work with what I had on hand, so it may not be the most traditional version, but it still turned out absolutely delicious. This dish is called makloubeh. I started by making the garlic yogurt sauce first, so the flavors could marinate while I cooked. The recipe for the sauce is plain yogurt, minced garlic, salt, black pepper, cumin and sumac, paprika, sliced chili, and lime juice. And at the end, you can drizzle some olive oil. Letting the garlic yogurt sauce sit for a while really brings out the flavors, giving the garlic and spices time to blend together. It goes so well with the mild, comforting taste of the makloubeh, adding a nice, creamy, tangy balance to each bite. Once mixed, I set it aside in the fridge and moved on to preparing the vegetables for the dish. Before cutting the vegetables, I rinsed and soaked the rice to remove excess starch. After draining, I seasoned it with ground cinnamon, black pepper and salt. This would infuse extra flavor into the final dish. While chopping the onions, I want to take a moment to talk about makloubeh. I found this recipe in a Palestinian cookbook, and I've learned that it varies across different regions in Palestine and the Middle East. Makloubeh literally means upside down because after cooking, the entire pot is flipped, revealing layered rice, vegetables, and meat. It's one of Palestine's most cherished dishes, often made for Friday family lunches, special gatherings, and Ramadan iftars. But more than just a meal, makloubeh represents home, heritage, and tradition. The use of seasonal vegetables and local spices connect the dish to Palestinian agriculture and culture. Since I didn't have eggplant or cauliflower, which is most commonly used in this dish, I used what I had, carrots and potatoes. Not a traditional version, but a great way to make use of what was available. In a pan, I heated some olive oil and seared my boneless leg of lamb. Traditionally, lamb shoulder is used because the bones add extra flavor to the stock, but boneless worked fine. I seasoned it with salt and black pepper while searing it to lock in the flavors. Once the meat was browned, I transferred the meat into a larger pot and added a meat stock cube with water for extra richness, a cinnamon stick, bay leaves, whole black peppercorns, whole cloves, garlic powder, and the onions I chopped up earlier. I let it simmer for 45 minutes on medium heat. This broth would later be used to cook the rice. Next, I sliced the vegetables for the layers. I started with carrots, using the mandolin slicer, which quickly turned into a struggle. Here's a clip of me fighting with the contraption. I ended up going back to my tried and true chopping board. I also sliced some garlic and fried it in oil, setting it aside for later. Using the same oil, I lightly fried the carrots and potatoes to give them a better texture before layering. Then I sliced potatoes, which aren't traditional in makloubeh, but I wanted to make use of what I had. Clearly, I didn't plan ahead, but in the end, I think it all worked out. Don't forget to season the vegetables of your choice and season them well, as they're going to be mixed with the rice later on. Once the meat was done, I strained and separated the broth, meat, and onions, removing the bay leaves and spices. Finally, it was time to assemble the makloubeh. I started with the first layer, thinly sliced tomatoes. This is supposed to help prevent the rice from sticking to the bottom, but spoiler alert, mine still stuck. Either way, the tomatoes added a subtle acidity that balances out the richness of the dish. If you have larger tomatoes, they'll work even better for covering the base evenly. Don't forget to add the crispy garlic flakes used for the oil previously while layering the rice. The third layer is the lamb, onions from the stock, carrots, potatoes, and some garlic flakes. The final layer is just another layer of rice, and you can repeat the previous steps by layering the meat, vegetables, garlic, and so on. بالأرض ترتدي ثوبها الأخضر وتحت شمس الظهر تلمع بفرح كل شعاع وتجسدي للبركة وفي كل لحظة نحتفل بالرحمة عندما يغرب الشمس وتأتي النجوم. When pouring the broth, I made a small mistake. I should have poured it from the edges instead of directly over the rice, as it could disrupt the layers like in the video. Let it cook on a low-medium heat for 30 to 35 minutes. Since I normally use the rice cooker, I was nervous about overcooking it, but I had to trust the process. Once it was done, I realized I didn't have a big enough plate to cover the pot, so I had to call for reinforcements. We flipped the makloubeh, but the top layer didn't slide out smoothly. After some quick adjustments, we managed to get it out. A slight mess, but not a disaster. I served it with the garlic yogurt sauce, and it was absolutely divine, alhamdulillah. The garlic and seasoning really complemented the dish, and the cinnamon infused rice filled the kitchen with the most comforting aroma. The carrots added natural sweetness, while the black pepper balanced it with a warmth and depth. Even though this wasn't the most traditional version, it still had a cozy, homey feel. My final thoughts. Makloubeh may seem intimidating, but now that I've made it once, I know it's easier than it looks, and I'll definitely be making it again. This dish reminded me that cooking is about adapting and making the best of what you have, whether you follow a recipe or tweak it based on what's available. The heart of makloubeh remains the same, a warm, comforting, and communal dish meant to be shared. Would you try making makloubeh? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more food adventures.